If Americans thought that John Podesta's anti-freedom career, ranging from his ties to the 1972 presidential campaign of leftist George McGovern, to his work with brother Tony, co-founding a leftist D.C. lobbying firm, to his work with Bill Clinton as chief of staff, to his chairmanship of the Hillary Clinton presidential run, to his founding of the leftist government-connected smear monster, the Center for American Progress, if they thought all that wasn't sufficiently antithetical to their rights and savings, the latest revelation about the Podestas and John's new position, replacing climate czar John Kerry, might just do the trick. It threatens our wallets, and it hints at nepotism to boot. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. Here's the story. It traces back 3 weeks when many freedom defenders read about Joe Biden pausing, as they say, federal permission slips for more liquefied natural gas terminals in the United States. People familiar with economics recognize that move as interference in the market process of supply, in this case, the supply of storage depots, actually being able to meet demand for storage of LNG as a means to ship, ensure against future shortage, and much more. They saw this interference as also something that will increase domestic prices and depress domestic LNG profitability, and also as something that will depress all the integrated and associated industries tied to U.S. natural gas suppliers. People familiar with the U.S. Constitution might have recognized the fact that the government's so-called rulebook doesn't allow Biden to engage in that prohibitive and thuggish activity. And people familiar with economics, the Constitution, and morality might have recognized all of those things, and also acknowledged that even if the Constitution were amended to allow Biden to block the storage of anything, anywhere, such interference wouldn't be moral. Which brings us to that pillar of morality, John Podesta. As Alana Goodman reports for the Washington Free Beacon, the Biden move appears to exhibit unsavory connections to left-leaning globalist interests and also appears to hand big indirect benefits to Mr. Podesta's brother and former partner, Tony. She writes, quote, John Podesta played a major role in ushering in the new LNG policy, sources told the Washington Free Beacon, a move that is seen as a political giveaway to green energy activists in the Democratic Party base. Deep-pocketed left-leaning donors, including charities funded by the Rockefeller brothers and Michael Bloomberg, have poured millions of dollars into environmental groups that lobbied to cut off new LNG permit approvals, the Wall Street Journal reported. But the decision could also boost current and former clients of Podesta's brother, Washington power lobbyist Tony Podesta, who has long represented foreign companies involved in the LNG industry. Yep, old Amtrak Joe claimed to be so up on the climate science that he not only impeded additional exploration for and recovery of natural gas in his first days in office, and he not only pumped up an artificial arbitrary claim that there is a so-called cost of carbon that the government wants to force into corporate financial decisions. 3 weeks ago, he appeared to single-handedly halt those magical new federal permits for LNG storage. And now we learn that it wasn't just his idea. His own enviro-sorcerer, that wonderful new climate czar John Podesta, was involved, and the move to throttle domestic energy companies under the guise of climate stands to benefit none other than John's bro, Tony. Because, of course, Tony's lobbying firm represents competing foreign LNG interests. Writes Goodman, quote, over the past decade, Tony Podesta's client roster has included LNG group Golden Pass, which is co-owned by the state-run Qatar Energy, and the Bulgarian company Protos Energy, which reportedly hired him to work on LNG-related issues. Since 2022, Tony Podesta's firm has raked in over $1 million from GemCorp, an investment fund that was barred from working on a Bulgarian LNG and energy development project due to the company's links to Russia. And of course, as the Biden administration has told us, Russia's pure evil, so no one anywhere should do business with anyone in or near Russia, or with anyone who even has a name that sounds Russian. It's no secret that John Podesta is the person behind this moratorium. One energy industry insider told the Free Beacon, Congress should take a very hard look at the fact that his own brother stands to financially benefit from a restriction of U.S. LNG on the global market, whether it be from his past work with the Qataris or current reported work with Russian-backed entities with interest in LNG. And the insider told the Free Beacon, less U.S. LNG on the global market will ensure Qatar and Russia receive hundreds of billions of dollars that would otherwise go to the U.S. Now, the latest in this shadow play that could see Tony's clients reap big rewards while we suffer higher prices is that Congress Thursday voted to strip Biden of his claimed powers over whether new LNG depots can be built and where. Thomas Catenacci reports this for Fox News, quote, "The House voted Thursday afternoon in favor of stripping the Biden administration's authority to permit natural gas export projects in a blow to the president's climate agenda. In a 224 to 200 vote, the House approved the so-called Unlocking Domestic LNG Potential Act, with 215 Republicans and 9 Democrats voting in favor." And Catenacci adds, quote, "Representative August Fugger, Republican of Texas, who chairs the House Energy Action Team, introduced the legislation on February 1st, arguing that it would ultimately overturn President Biden's recent actions, pausing permits for new liquefied natural gas LNG export projects. Last year, President Biden told the Europeans that they needed to get off Russian gas and that the U.S. would supply their liquid natural gas needs. Now that it is an election year, he is reneging on that deal to appease his radical climate base, Fugger told Fox News Digital ahead of the vote. Fugger also told Fox News Digital that 2/3 of the world's natural gas is produced in 4 countries: Russia, Iran, the United States, and Qatar. So, of course, if potential U.S. supply is suppressed, the competitors stand to profit, as do the interests tied to John Podesta's brother, Tony. This raises many questions. From the perverse political push behind the climate change canard, to the political demonization of petrochemical fuels, to the federal fascism of pork spending on electric vehicles and unreliable, inefficient wind and solar, to the regulatory threats targeting traditional car makers and sundry other gangland tactics employed by governments, to this latest Biden administration attempt to block the natural growth of LNG storage capacity, one of the key lessons to take away lies not just in the fact that these moves appear to be corrupt, but it lies in the fact that they're unconstitutional and the additional fact that they're immoral from the outset. Now we can attach more names to the list of possible wrongdoers involved in this, the people who benefit while they work to harm us. And of course, we can utilize our easy recognition of those names and faces as memory triggering tools to keep this story in mind. But of course, the long-term lessons about freedom should come to mind as well. So let's spread the word about those, the deeper lessons that will last and last as long as this regulatory apparatus and their immoral assumptions of power over us last. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on Rumble, where they don't censor us. Thank you, Rumble. You can still find us on YouTube, of course, where sometimes they do censor us. Please double check that you're subscribed and share the videos far and wide. Current issues economic history, economic facts, morality as well, and the Constitution. Good stuff to share with people, especially at this time. You can find us anytime at MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org, where you'll see what the whole team is doing. While you're there, please consider donating to the Media Research Center and check out the Media Research Center store for some great items. You can also find us inside Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on X. And if you want to find me on Gab, I'm at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab. And on X, I am at Gard Goldsmith. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.